One of the things that inspired me to share my story was what I see out there, like on social media. A lot of people are just so done, they're over it. And I was one of those people at one point.
Taking on the mind of Christ, that helps me to stay focused on you and you alone.
The story of how we met, for me, actually begins before we met. And I say that just because I prepared myself for my husband. So dating for me was not working well, but I knew that one day I would be married. And so prior to meeting Bruce or being introduced to Bruce, I started preparing. And when I say preparing, I opened up space in my closet, just a little bit, for my future husband, not knowing who he would be. I wrote in a journal to him. I prayed for him. When I say prayed for him, not praying, God bring me a husband, so much as God, whatever my husband is going through at this moment, please bless him. God opened doors of opportunity for him. So I was saying prayers of blessing for him before I even knew who he was.
That was very important to me too, to know that she was already praying for me before we even met. I had never thought of praying for my spouse that way, but we both did.
And there was a challenge going on Facebook called Pray for Your Future Spouse. And I heard about that challenge and I joined it. And it was a week of prayer, fasting. We would get up and attend like webinars, Zoom meetings and everything. And so I entered that challenge. Again, not really for a husband, so to speak, but just in preparation for what would happen one day. And so about a week or so after that challenge ended, I joined this Christian group on Facebook for singles. And I'd been in the group for a minute, just kind of lurking, as they say. I would comment on a post here or there, but I didn't introduce myself. And so one day I decided to introduce myself, and I did an introductory post. And after I did that, I had a few people, come in my inbox and message me. And then not long after that, there was a young lady by the name of Joanne, and I didn't know her at all. And she messaged me about Bruce. So that was where our introduction started. But let me backtrack. So after I had finished that challenge, that prayer challenge, I can remember being home by myself one day, and I was walking downstairs, and all of a sudden it was just like the room just kind of got brighter. It just kind of lit up. And I could hear a voice say, something amazing is about to happen. And me, again, I'm not thinking about a man or anything like that. I'm thinking, well, one of my kids about to hit the lottery or coming to some money or something. We're about to come up. I'm receiving, I'm receiving that. And so a couple of weeks after was when I was introduced to Bruce. When a couple of years before I met Bruce, I was in this group. And one of the moderators of the group was selling t-shirts, and the t-shirt said, Black in Love Again. And so I purchased one, me wanting to support people. And then I could hear something say, buy a 2X. Your husband is going to wear a size 2X. I wasn't dating anybody, wasn't looking for anybody, but I was obedient and I got that 2X. And I put it in my closet. And I thought, okay, well, the next guy I meet, if he wears a 2X, then that might be him. So I met a guy, and he was a 2X, but he was the wrong 2X. He was not the one.
He was X2, not 2X.
And plus, he was a Florida Gator fan, too. No. So anyway, I kept the shirt in my closet a little bit. And then after I met Bruce, we were talking, what size you wear, what's your favorite color, all that kind of stuff. And he said 2X. I was like, all right, okay, all right. So I didn't say anything, but after time went on and I just knew that he was the one, I told him, I said, you know what? And I told him about the story of the shirt. And I said, and you wear a 2X, right? Something along those lines. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, well, this is his shirt. So we did end up wearing them like a few weeks after that. But, so those were just like some things that just kind of came back to me, saying that, this might be the one. It's like everything just kind of fell into place with you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and thankfully he's not a Florida Gator fan. So that's another plus. Go Noles.
Go Noles.
Go Noles.
Well, on my side, how we met, I had just ended a long distance relationship, and I had also gone through the Pray for Your Future Spouse Challenge. I actually did it a couple of years in a row, and I'm like, okay, well, she coming, we'll keep believing, and get this DM from. Like she said, from Joanne. And I'm like, I don't know Joanne. She didn't know Joanne. We were just all in the same group. And I think y'all ought to meet. So it's okay. So I go scoop pictures. Yeah, probably, And I said, well, no. And I blew it off. So I said, well, I think I know her. And I'm already in the friend zone. So.
You were.
So I was in the friend zone. And she said, but I'll meet her. And so we exchange. She gives me permission to DM her. I send her my DM with basically not my life story, but basically everything that I was all about. And
it was long.
Yeah, it was long.
It was long.
I think Facebook had to put up an extra box on the page because it wouldn't take that long. But I told her all about myself and my kids, what I've been through, so forth and so on, and what I'm looking for, what I stand for. And we met. That was on, I think, September 25th. We met a week later.
26.
26, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
And we met a week later on October 3rd. That was our first date. And so I did show up with the cake and the balloons and small gifts, and said, well, I know your birthday was in August, and your birthday wouldn't be the same without me. So I had to put my little
Rico Suave.
So I show up with the cake and the balloons, and it was a nice touch. And if I say so myself. Anyway, I did that. Right? Mm-hmm. So Alex, the first conversation, I can still visualize our first picture that we took together. Mm-hmm. And it was like we knew each other for 30 years. And we got ready to leave the restaurant. And I did the man thing, let the lady go first. So I could
be fresh,
get my eye candy on. And I'm like, yes, Lord, I can work with this. And I'm still working. So, but anyway. Willie Earl, okay. You May. But so getting to know her, and I just felt at ease about being able to be with her. And next thing, I'm seeing stuff that I didn't plan on seeing. You're supposed to hold a little bit of something back. I'm just spilling all the
let it all out.
You weren't supposed to say that.
Well, that's what you said. I was easy to talk to.
Yeah, she was. She's very easy to talk with.
He was so close to giving me his banking account information.
Like Ray Charles, turn my pants upside down. But yeah, that was our first meeting, and after the first day we talked, we never have stopped talking since.
Mm-mm.
So
every day. And that was in 2020.
2020, yeah.
Yep. We haven't missed a day without either talking to each other or seeing each other. And it's like it never gets old. It never gets old. And then I did a search of us looking to see like where we knew each other, because you swear we met before and we didn't. I don't remember meeting you before Joanne introduced us. And we were in like over 20 groups together on Facebook, but never really talked to each other.
Right.
I knew I had been on your page because when Joanne told me who you were, I was like, I know him. That name is familiar. And then that's because I'm nosy and I had been on your page before.
I said the same thing. I know that, like I said, I felt like I had already known you and that I was already in your friend zone. Like I had shot my shot.
You were.
And but I felt like, I can't remember if I did shoot my shot or I just I left the ball on the court for her to pick up to see if she's going to dribble. And she didn't pick up the ball. So.
You never said anything. You probably thought about it.
Yeah, I did.
But I didn't see where we had communicated at all, which is odd because we were in so many, and we had a lot of mutual friends.
Yep. Yeah,
So,
you actually graduated from high school with my sister.
Yep.
And both of them are nurses.
Yep.
Ironically, yeah.
With Earl.
When I think about our wedding, I think about, if I had to describe it, it would be a blessed assurance. What I mean by that is everything that God had promised me, I saw it coming to pass. At that moment, all the trials and tribulations that I've been through, all the failed relationships that I've been through, this is the one. It had finally culminated into that moment. And that 30, however long the wedding actually lasted, was the beginning of a new life for me. Had a family, inherited sons, and a daughter-in-law, grandkids, and my daughter got to have brothers and sister-in-law. So everything just came together. As far as the actual ceremony, it was a blessed event. All of my homeboys were either groomsmen and just got to hang out. Actually, this was my second marriage, and two of my original groomsmen were honorary groomsmen at this. So that was nice to kind of relive that moment. My two best friends from my childhood was able to be there, and so it was magical. It was, and the scenery, the place where we had the wedding was very picturesque, and it's right on the water. So you couldn't script it out of a movie any better. Yeah.
Yep. It was nice. Everything, it's almost like a blur because everything happened so fast. And sometimes I replay in my mind, well, when did that happen? Or, what happened? Everything just happened so fast. And I will say that I wasn't physically 100% because I had just gone through a surgery. And so I was really actually in a lot of pain. From the moment that we said I do and was walking down the aisle, but I just pushed through it. And then I like to tell people we actually got married 4 months before our wedding date. That's our little inside joke secret, because I had surgery December 1st and I needed to go to the restroom. And the nurse wasn't there, and I wasn't thinking clearly because, again, I'm a nurse. I could have unhooked the IV, but my mind just wasn't there. And so Bruce had to help me to the restroom. And so he was able to see all of my stuff and stand there with me. So I said, well, we're married. This is it. This makes us married because nobody does this but a husband, So our actual pretend wedding date was December 1st. Is what I like to tell people, but yeah.
You just said something kind of jarred my mind. memory, I was already a husband. And when you think about Eve, Eve was already a wife when she was presented to Adam.
Mm-hmm.
So, kind of going back, piggybacking on what we talked about earlier about telling people to, what I would advise people, it would be a husband, be a man, but still be a husband.
Mm-hmm.
Be a woman and be a wife. You don't become a wife, you're a wife already.
Yep.
So that day I was a husband already, and you were a wife already. So.
Mm-hmm. What happened was I had a torn tendon in my foot, and for months we tried to do non-surgical interventions and it just wasn't working. And I knew that we were planning a wedding and I like to wear heels. And so this was a big thing for me. My goal was I timed it. Okay, I'll have the surgery and then I'll do therapy. And my goal was to be able to walk down the aisle in my heels. Now, Bruce had been such a great support for me during that time. You are amazing. This is another reason I knew he was the one, because he was selfless in everything that he does for me. And I had to learn how to accept that. I wasn't used to that. Somebody pouring into me all the time and giving to me and doing for me the way that you did. I'm almost about to cry thinking about it. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Oh, wow. Okay.
How do I say it? That's part
of my benefits package. And I appreciate that. I'm just wasn't used to anybody loving me the way that he did. And so I had to learn how to allow somebody to love me. One of the things that Bruce liked to do that I still kind of have to get used to is he buckles me in the car. So when we get in the car, he opens the door and he buckles me in. And when he first did it, I was like, I'm not a child. I don't need you to do that. I've been single for so long and used to doing stuff for myself. I didn't need him to do that. But that was his way of making sure that the person that he loved was going to be okay, securing the package. And then, like you said, you give, you serve. And sometimes I feel like, I don't feel like I'm doing enough, but you say that I am because you give so much and I'm just not used to that. So this has been a learning process for me. Learning to accept your love language, the way that you present it to me, and being able to receive it without any reservations, without feeling like I'm not doing my part.
Well, that's one of the things about love languages. The way I like to define love languages is there's an internal love language and an external love language. Your external love language is how you like to give love, and your internal is how you like to receive love. And how I'm wired, when you take a personal motivational gift test, server is kind of one of my motivational gifts. And then also, I guess with acts of service, no play on words, but acts of service appears to be as one of my external love languages. So I like to serve and I like to give. And I heard our pastor's brother say one time that sometimes the blessing is in the giving more than the receiving. Mm-hmm. So the blessing is in the giving, and what you give back to me is, to me, icing on the cake. I do it again and again.
Oh.
And one of the true blessings that I have is I get to fall in love with you every day.
Oh, Rico.
So, that was good. But I think that's one of the things to help marriage stay fresh is to fall in love with you every day.
Mm-hmm.
And if I fall in love with you every day, I never fall in love with you. So if it's a new gray hair, or if it's a new dimple, or a new whatever, that's something new and exciting about you that I can just admire and fall in love with.
See, he's good. Love you.
Love you too, babe.